Hey everyone, so glad you can join us this week. And today we have a special guest. It's none other than Gopalan. And for some of you who may have known him, or some of you who may not know him, he's an amazing guy filled with wisdom. And I tell you, one session with him, you will gain so much a wealth of knowledge from him. Well, in this episode, in Coaching Changes Lives, we're going to focus on conversations around relationship and life. And none other than Gopalan, who is an expert who brings together with his wealth of experience leading teams in the aviation industry, as well as working with different communities at large. And his passion in working with people and communities really has impacted many different lives around. So I want to steal the thunder for him. I want you to hear him because this will be a 4-part series where we talk about life and relationship across different subjects and topics. So stay tuned because every single week we'll upload a new episode for you to stay tuned with it. Okay, so let's introduce Gopalan, our life and relationship coach. Gopalan.
Thank you, Jedi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we'd like to start this first episode to talk about life and relationships.
Yes. Yep. So maybe we can start by first letting the audience know a little bit about yourself and your background, so they kind of understand, where you're from and also your passion and your interests.
Excellent. Um, I'm born and bred in Singapore. My parents came from a state in India called Kerala before the Japanese occupation of Singapore, and we grew up here with my 4 other siblings, schooled in Singapore, and right through from school, I felt a pull towards people.
Mhm.
And that took me towards aviation, where I was dealing with people, the traveling public from different cultures, multi-generational travelers, from children to elderly, to those who need wheelchairs, immobile cases, and also disruptions and crisis within the industry where multiple teams had to be coordinated. And these teams are also from different cultural backgrounds, not only Singaporeans, but even Malaysians and Indonesians and even Filipinos and mainland PRCs who were part of the population at the airport. And communicating directly with the team leaders was so critical and crucial. And I found, in essence, what that meant for the common outcomes that we wanted from the teams. And during that period, I was also a unionist for 15 years, the last 15, while I was at the command center, looking after, overseeing the operations at the 4 terminals in Singapore. After spending 4 years overseas as well as station manager, I found that there were people amongst the employees at the airport who were feeling left out, not heard, and my union work brought me to them. I somehow seemed to attract these people, and they came to me to unload their grievances. And I found real concerns because when they are sharing their grievance, for them it's real, even if it's imagined. It gave me an opportunity to work with them and with the company about having to manage their expectations, what are they really lacking behind their disappointments, to better understand who they are themselves before even approaching the company for help. Some were clear-cut cases like square peg in a round hole. They were performers in one division and they were misaligned to another division where they didn't fit in and then became poor performers. Can be devastating for the individual, not understanding what's happening to them, where at one moment you're a star performer and one moment you are not seen as a non-performer, and also my belief in helping those less abled drove me to doing charity work with the Down Syndrome Association of Singapore the last 24 years, this year 25th, and a board member the last 4 years.
Oh, oh, that's really tremendous. I really love when you mention about people just drawn to you, your natural state when people are just coming to you, or seeking a ear to listen. I think that's so important. I remember in organizations, many people have their greatest concern is that will anyone listen to me or will anyone hear me? I'm not sure if my leaders are there. If I tell them certain things, will they judge me? And is there a safe space? And how has it been for you in creating this safe space for people to really come and approach you? Is it something that you consciously do, or is this something that it has been all the while with you, kind of like your unconscious part of you?
Actually, it's good that you raised that topic. While I was at it, I never really reflected on that because I felt that was me. That was me. And even staff who came to me, not sharing work-related issues, but they were sharing, I just had a quarrel with my boyfriend. Things like that. I just quarreled with my mother. Things like that. And I say, hey, this is the workplace. Then I bring them to my consultation room. I have two staff at the control center quarreling at the top of their voice, shouting at each other on top of their voice, disrespecting the workspace, disrupting the focus at looking at operations, and everybody now looks at the circus. I take them out and bring them to a private space where they can now start talking to each other with me. And I found that was so natural for me. I never even had to consider it consciously.
Wow.
And when I tell you when I realized this, when I started my coaching journey, because I've been in people business all along. And when I finished my first role in life, which was at the airport, I felt that I have not retired from life and I want to still engage with people. And it just drew me towards coaching. And what I realized was after going through this journey, still going through this journey, oh, so this is what I did while I was doing this. This is what I did. And it turns out that it was very congruent with what I was doing all along.
Yeah.
Even going on the mic at the gatehold room, talking to people who were totally upset with the airline because of a creeping delay, where you tell them half an hour, half an hour, half an hour, half an hour, and 3 hours have gone.
Yeah.
So I felt that what drew me was when I was looking at this, engaging people at the gate, because my team was so fearful of speaking on the mic without a text,
Yes.
which came naturally to me. And I felt, hey, even if you don't have an update, talk to your people. They want to hear you. They want to feel engaged. They want to feel connected. That my premium passengers who were at the gate refused to go back to the lounge, though they were invited, because they came to me and said, Gopalan, here, you talk to me. You speak with me. I feel connected. Even when you come and when you tell me, I will get back to you in 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and you go and speak to the engineer and you come back and you say, folks, I still have no updates. My engineers are still working on it. I still felt assured because somebody is talking to me and you were so authentic. You were not trying to lie to us. I felt so much trust when you were talking to me. And that was the trust of my speech to passenger. Because when I go on the mic, I don't prepare my speech. And I can see my team is, even my duty managers were trying to figure out what to say, For me, it was like, folks, I'm back. It's very
Natural.
put them in a very calm state. to put them in. And I found that I didn't even have to try. And they said, I'd rather be here in the gateway room, even though it's not as comfortable as the lounge, because you are. I feel connected.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful point because what Gopalan just pointed out, I think, if you guys got your journal, if you got your notepad or your phones, pen this down. I think this is one interesting insight that many people think that it's about creating that environment, like physical environment. Although it's useful, physical environment, but the spatial environment, the human to human environment, that's the key. And you found that in his story as well, when he was working in the airport, and how many of you traveled, down through your years, you know how challenging it is in an airport, where you have tons of customers with all kinds of expectations, and sometimes a little delay, the customers will overwhelm the staff who's not probably that doesn't have any clue what's happening with the engineering side, or maybe delays with the aircraft. And it takes a whole nother level of communication and conversation, and to really ease the emotions and tension. And you find that one secret that I'm hearing from Gopalan is the secret of making people feel connected, right? Making it feel more personal. And because people see the airlines as, oh, a distant object, that's the airline, I am me. But when you hear stories like that, you realize that it's not about that or this. It's about finding that humanist connection. And that's why from there, and that's who Gopalan is, and it's easy for him to speak for. And you hear that some of his staff had challenges because they're trying to think about, what should I say? Should I say the right thing? Should I say the wrong thing? But they never come from the spirit of actually just being themselves and create authentic conversation. So I'm so glad to have Gopalan in this series, because this 4-part series, we're going to focus on relationships, conversation that really matters. And in our very first episode today, we're going to talk about the multifaceted sides of relationships and how how do we approach this? Because as a coach, Gopalan, you have probably met different kind of clients, both in the aviation side as well as the pro bono side, and maybe other life coaching sessions as well. When it comes to the idea of relationships and building relationships, what are some of the things that are some of your key experiences that you had with them?
Good question, Jedi. Right from the beginning, I've always felt that everything about humanness, as micro-minute as they might seem, is about relationships. And relationships is between you and yourself, inwards, and the relationship that places you from there to how you relate, from the word relationship, to every single person you engage with or disengage with. Every time you move forward, and mind you, relationships differ. The meanings and the attachments we give to each relationship. You can even have a relationship with your phone. The way you treat your phone is a relationship on what you think this is all about. Yeah. So it's not just, but it becomes a relationship because one side of the coin is a being.
That's really interesting. What you just mentioned was that you can tell a lot by the person's phone as well. The choice of phones that they buy, even the way they take care of their phones, and that relationship is not just with the organic object, but also in the inanimate object. It really shows up a lot of the person's belief and values as well. And I'm just wondering, when we think about relationships, what are some of the, when someone is facing those relationships, how do they deal with all those different sides of the relationships? Because you mentioned earlier, you have a side of relationship with the self, a side of relationship with objects, side of relationship with people, and it seems like sometimes people get overwhelmed by, wow, it seems I have to put on a certain front to be able to face all these things. Yeah, how would people actually, manage all these different facets of it?
Therein lies the challenge. Most people going through life were never equipped to deal with the multifaceted challenges of relationships. And which is why I feel that our education system is very telling about what that focus is. I think humanities and relationships and dealing with challenges, understanding the humanness should be part of the school curriculum from a very young age. And having someone to talk to and engage with to unload some of those things are so important, because sometimes when you find that just having a chat with yourself, and I'm not sure even if many people are doing this, and there was a time where if you were speaking with yourself, you were seen to be a mental case.
Yeah.
That stereotype comes in. And as we go along in life, you realize it is part of our journey to better understand who we are. And that is fundamental to the humanness and the spirit of the game in life. If you look at life too seriously, you are not going to enjoy it. You need to take it in bite size to understand the multifacets of the relationship, in terms from a logical standpoint, from a emotional standpoint. If I may share a story,
Yep, sure.
a short one. You know, I have to go back to people. I go back to people because fundamentally relationships are about people. There was this guy who was starting off his flight in New York. He was a very, very high position premium traveler, one that we call solitaire in the circle of flyers. And he missed his first flight at Newark, rushed to JFK by road, and almost missed that flight too, because he was late for check-in,
Yep.
and they accepted him because he was a solitaire, because he said he missed that first flight because of something, right? And it started building up through the whole journey. He was going to meet his son for a football game he promised his son. The word is he promised his son that he will be there in Shanghai or Guangzhou when the son is having his football game. And that meant so much to him. It's a very strong emotion. And in JFK, he almost missed the flight because nobody helped him through the long immigration queues, take out shoes, take out this, and multiple flights and all that. Then, after getting on board, the flight got delayed. And then he was pissed off already, he was getting pissed off. Then he went to Frankfurt. Frankfurt flight got delayed again. Really not his day, right?
Yep.
But don't forget, there are 300 other passengers on that flight, and they have various reasons why they should be upset, right?
Yep.
Got into Singapore. He already missed the first flight to Shanghai, right? He was put on the second flight. Got into the aircraft, all that. Pushback. Engineering problem. Aircraft came back to bay. Aircraft changed. He lost it. 5 duty managers went to attend to him. They were all told off and given a real whack, right? And he marched to the Silver Chris Lounge. In the Silver Chris Lounge, he was munching his food, because he was so upset. He was crumbs all over his tea. That's how upset he was. Eyes red, and things like that. And he told them, I don't want to talk to you guys, right? Enough of this. No more excuses. I took Singapore Airlines because I knew we'll be there on time, right?
Yeah.
And so he went to the lounge, and my duty managers called me and said, hey, I think you better see him. It was a Sunday, right? So I went to see him. First 20 minutes, I went in. What do? I hold a space for him because he needed everything out.
Yep.
So he told me his story. And after he finished his story, I told him that I cannot do anything about what has taken place, but can I be there for you for the rest of the journey? And what followed next was holding the space, engaging him, and he had, I did all the follow-up and now all that things. I don't want to go into that. And when the most senior guy wrote to him because he wanted to hear from him, he said, I understand you spoke to this. He has referred this to me, and out of goodwill, we are doing this for you and all that. He says, thank you. That was very kind of you. I still believe in you. I still believe in you. And that's why I still travel with you, right? Then he said, thank you. Boom. 30 seconds later, second email came. And he copied me. When the big guy wrote to him, he also copied me. It shows transparency from the leadership. And nobody else, just me and him, the big guy and the customer, right? And the guy wrote back. 30 seconds later, he said, oh, one more thing. I was upset. I was very, very upset. But I enjoyed my conversation with Gopalan. His response was perfect. You know?
Wow.
And that was enough for me. I said, I didn't respond because I was only CC, right? Yeah. So big guys sent him a note, said, I'm sure this will spur him on to do even better, things like that. So the gist of it is, it's a lot of the times when we go out to address the issues, am I still able to get him into Shanghai on time? No, he didn't get what he wanted, no?
Yeah.
Right? He still didn't get what he wanted, which was he disappointed his son by not being at the game. Right? But I attended to that emotion that was really the core.
Yeah.
Of course, at that point, I didn't even think about it because I felt that was me. And that was me dealing with another human being. What is it that was really bugging him? What does it really mean to him? Why is it so important? So I didn't waste time talking about the disruption. It happens, aircraft, engine, cannot every time maintain also still happen. No, I didn't go into that.
Yeah. You went to the core and think that's so beautiful. In fact, one of the beauties about coaching and why me and Gopalan are so passionate about coaching people, it's that coaching is not telling you what to do. It's not just problem fixing. We are person engaging, right? And he mentioned earlier, if you guys heard the story from Gopalan, I think I love it so much. You need to rewatch this video because there's so many nuggets inside there. Nuggets about customer service, how to handle difficult customers, how to handle challenging issues and circumstances that's beyond your control. And what he pointed out was so beautiful because he says this, that most people focus on the issues than the person. And you find that the best way to sometimes resolve the tensions is not try to fix the issues or try to do the what or do the doings all the time, but it's about addressing the heart. And what Gopala mentioned is about addressing how he feels about the situation. And I remember one time I was hearing this gentleman called Ron Kaufman, who was the service one of the experts in customer service, and he said this. He said, "Are customers always right?" Then said, of course not. Sometimes customers are wrong, but what do you do when they are wrong, right? Is to make them feel right. So what Gopalan did there was to make the customer feel right. And I love this phrase. He said this: I cannot change whatever happened in the past of your journey, but I will be here for the rest of your journey. I like the beautiful phrase, and that's so wonderful. Hope you enjoyed this short part of this episode series. There's so much more to share with you guys, and you want to stay tuned because you want to hit the subscribe button and like and notification bell because we have this 4-part series as we explore relationships. Now, if you enjoy this little mini episode and you want to get engaged with us and you want to find out more about how you can engage Gopalan as well as ourselves to help you in your teams or maybe in your life for coaching. So coaching is not just for individuals who's going through life challenges, but it's also for teams. Let's say you have a customer service team and you want to build better relationships, right? Gopalan is the man to go to. Now, I work with Gopalan all over the world as well to help make difference one conversation at a time. And our passion is really to help people as well. So what we'll do is that we'll put our link below in the comment section, and I'll put Gopalan's link down below as well. Get connected with him on his LinkedIn, on his website as well, because there's so much more nuggets to share with you guys. Right, Gopalan, any last, one final word that you can share with the audience here today before we go to, before we tell them to catch us in the next episode?
Yes, look forward to the next segment, really. One takeaway, one last word on this is, remember, relationships as are simple, actually. It's us who make it complicated.
Yeah. That's beautiful, right? I really enjoyed my session with Gopalan. Thanks so much for being here today. And this is our first part on the multifaceted relationship, on life and relationships itself. Stay tuned for the second part, because you want to watch all these episodes. And at the end, we're going to tell a little secret about something that you want to be part of, right? And don't forget this. Do remember to hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, and tag someone who needs to hear this message today. Okay, so if you have questions for me or Gopalan, just post them in the comment section below. We will do some follow-up videos as well to help support you guys. So until next time, this is me, Jedi, at Coaching Changes Lives, and Gopalan joining us for this episode on conversations that really matter. See you guys really soon.